All right. Hi, Jess. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Nicole. It's so nice to be here.
I'm so glad that you are here. Now, for everyone to know, Jess is the founder of Jess Nana. She is a digital marketing specialist, educator, website designer, and of course, a fractional CMO. And I'm so glad you're here. Would love to dive in on how you started your business, and let's hear it.
Yeah. So I actually was in 2009, I got engaged. I was planning my destination wedding and I was working in the marketing department at a company and I met some vendors, and through my wedding planning process, they were like, "You have such a way with words," and they asked for me to start blogging for them.
Oh,
So I
wow.
did, and then I started doing their social media. And that grew into also offering web design. And for the first year, I freelanced. And then I decided that once I had five full-time clients, I would leave my job. And so
Wow.
October 1st of 2011, I took the crazy leap and went all in.
Oh my
And
gosh, I love
yeah.
that story. Wow, talk about like a jumping off point.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I just was so lucky in the sense that because I was planning my wedding, I immediately had exposure to my ideal client, which doesn't always
Mm,
happen for a lot of people. So it's not like I had to network. I mean, I just got to know all these wedding vendors, and through word of mouth, everything grew, so quickly. And so for 8.5 years, I was a social media manager for
wow.
wedding pros and did blogging. And then in 2020, just before the pandemic hit, actually in 2019, I let go of all 20 of my social media clients, having no idea what was about to take place,
Oh,
and decided I was going to teach everyone. And I started having these social media classes. And at the time, the web design part of the business really took off. And I just found that I couldn't, we had to really lean into people's authenticity at that time. And I just couldn't be those business owners. I wanted to really start empowering business owners to tell their own stories and use their own words in social media and really learn how to do this. So it was crazy because I ended up having five students and then had so many people who were like, well, I had to let go of my social media manager because we're not
mm,
having any weddings this year and I want to learn this. So it was just a really great time to make that change.
wow.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, so from that point, where has there been changes in evolution along the way now that we're a
Yes.
couple years out?
Yeah, and this is the thing that I think all business owners need to realize is that how much evolution happens now and so quickly
Mm,
compared to how it used to be. Um, I now did the full web design piece. I used to be a WordPress developer. I no longer work with WordPress. I will only work with Showit. I used to work with Squarespace as well. I only work with Showit and Shopify now. They are my two favorite platforms. Um, and along the way, I became a fractional CMO for larger brands. I'm currently the fractional CMO for Wedding Dress Designer and Barge. And in between there, I had also for a vet company that has an app, and then another app in the wedding industry. I had stepped in and been the fractional CMO. So
so if someone doesn't know what a fractional CMO means, could you
yes,
expand on that and what you
yes.
provide? Okay.
Yep. So I'm the chief marketing officer and I do it through a consultant, like as a consultant. It's through my business and it's part-time. So it's for the companies who don't need to bring on a full-time CMO because that is a huge cost.
Mhm.
So that's a cost savings. And yeah, I step in and it's everything from I manage, a team. in the marketing department, train everyone, decide, what we're bringing in, bringing out. I do our monthly analytics, our email marketing, our blogging, like I'm
Wow.
in it. And I think that's the biggest thing that separates me from other CMOs is that I actually know how to do all the
Yeah.
pieces. And it's why I do what I do, and I'm so passionate about empowering business owners because I found the same exact thing for brands. Oftentimes, CMOs will come in, but they've never done the blogging themselves. They've never
Mhm.
learned how to use a social media scheduler. They haven't done the SEO.
Yeah.
I actually have done all the
Well,
things. So I not only can train a team, but I can support them and saying, yeah, I know that blogging takes 2 hours of blog posts and that
yeah.
you can only get so much done, in a certain amount of time. So it just makes for a very collaborative atmosphere. And I love it. I love it because I'm in the business, for my clients, but I'm also working on it for them at the same time. And that's a very unique combo.
Yeah, I love that because you can speak to all their pain points and all the team members and the training is critical. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
huge.
fascinating. For for other businesses that you're not doing that full packaging,
Mhm.
what what services, anything new on the horizon, anything that you've been kind of rolling out that you think this is a way that you're seeing small business owners need support?
Yes, a big, big piece. In 2024, the biggest mistake I saw in businesses was hiring and because not no outsourcing, I should say, and because these business owners didn't know how to do it, they had no idea that it was being done wrong. So, and I cannot tell you the countless amounts of clients that I have had come to me. So now, and I haven't really started talking about it, but I am going to be because it just, again, it happened organically.
Yep.
I've had business owners who hire me for like a 3-month retainer to review the work of the person that they're outsourcing to make sure that their investment is good and that it's being done correctly first.
Wow.
You really have to vet and and really know who you're hiring when you're outsourcing. But above all else, you have to learn how to do it first. So I
Mm,
have strategy sessions. I have one-on-one, they're custom trainings because it's all depends. Um, we have a mutual client who I'm training right now is Erin over at Nob Hill Jane. So I'm teaching her how to blog so that
okay.
she can start doing all her own blog posts. And I tell this to all business owners, learn how to do it first. And then when you get to a point, which that's the dream, when you can
Yes.
outsource the pieces of your business that do not bring you joy, you know that it's being done right.
Yeah. I had a very similar experience. I started as a
Mhm.
brand or a photographer 15 years ago. The only thing we had was blogging back then.
Right.
So
Right.
I would blog, but boy,
Yeah.
that's not my happy place. And so when I could bring on a copywriter like 10 years later,
Yeah.
that was like, it
Game
is
changer,
yeah,
right?
game changer. And I knew it was saving time, but it also like really helped me formulate my own messaging and really dial things in because I had the time instead of being bogged down writing. Um,
Exactly.
it
You
opened that up. So yes, I completely agree with that statement. Knowing all how it works, then
right.
if you can get to the point of having good support.
Exactly. And it's not a popular opinion, but I really truly believe that social media has to be done in-house. Outsourcing blogging, I mean, email marketing, even then, but it really needs to be someone who's in the business. That's
Mm,
the piece. That is key. It needs to be someone that knows and understands your business because then you're just creating duplicate. You're having to send the content and the right in some form of details to that
mm,
social media manager, right? So you have to really look at the time savings there versus just sitting down and learning how to use a scheduler yourself
yeah.
or, Flowdesk, which is my favorite. And then decide in your business, okay, but what are the pieces you want to outsource? And I do think copywriting and blogging are definitely two that can go. as well as like any video editing that's needed, because that is all really time consuming stuff.
So with web design, are you seeing like obviously in social media and for ads,
Hmm.
video obviously is a
Huge,
big part of that now.
huge.
Being a brand photographer and videographer, I'm always supporting my clients in that way. How do you see that affecting website design?
Same thing. And I keep telling all my clients, well, for one, I require that you work with Nicole or another brand photographer. I do require that you have a branding session and professional photography in order to work with me. And then that includes video because it makes such a huge difference. Again, our websites now are it's yes, you are being judged by the cover of your book, and that is your website. And having video tells a story that can't be told in just images. And it's just a really crucial piece. And it really needs to be done, at least once a year. But I have clients now who are doing, branding sessions twice a year. And some, depending on the type of your business, if it's
Yeah,
seasonal, then you need to be doing it quarterly.
yeah. And
Um,
where do you
yeah,
find if there's the most impact or trends for video landing on the website? Because I know
yes.
for like my business, like website banners is
Yep.
like a very
Headers.
headers, yep.
Mhm.
What other types? I know there could be testimonial videos or just an introduction video. Where else? What other?
Yeah, so your about page, that's such a powerful place to really like introduce yourself. And I think people forget that it doesn't just have to be a storytelling video, but like a GIF, an animated video of you doing your work. Since I work primarily with creatives, like in the wedding industry, hospitality and interior design. So I always say to them, like, do your thing. And because they're always not wanting to show their face and talk. You don't have to. And then you can always do a voiceover, but short and sweet is definitely the key. And you want to make it feel really organic. And I know that can be a challenge because you don't want to make it look like it's this overly produced video that actually took you a ton of time and your hair and makeup. You want it actually to feel very raw and organic, as if it was something that you would film yourself doing and then put it up on social media.
Yes, and that's what I try to do as their brand photographer or videographer. And if I can get in their authentic space, in their workspace, their studio, every
Yes.
time someone gets into their process, they always seem to just relax a little bit more, get
Yes,
into it,
yes.
and that is what makes
That's
the content
key. The
so much.
B-roll, and then, take it a step further. I mean, it can really be everywhere. You can have a beautiful, what's called parallax, where it like moves as you scroll up and down on a web page. So to separate your services page, you can have a beautiful video on there. I mean, and that's the other thing too. If you have a services page that's very heavy on text, that is always a very big challenge on the web design side. So you're going to really need a lot of video and a lot of images to thoughtfully, with intention, break up that page so it doesn't feel overwhelming, but still conveys the information that you need.
This is awesome because since I work with creative businesses as well, I'm always talking about their website, whether many times I'm being called on because they're doing a redesign or they're starting a business or they just need a refresh. So I'm always speaking to them on, okay, this would be great for banner. This would be good for your about page or your process or how to work with you. So we're trying to capture content to support that. And I know many times if a web designer like yourself is involved in the project, we can then collaborate on, okay, how is this mapping out on the page? What do you see that you may need? And then that just makes the end result that much stronger.
Yeah.
So I know I'm always thinking of how it's going to live at the end, wherever it's going to land on the
Mhm.
website. But of
Mhm.
course, this all can apply then over to social media, and they can really expand that investment over and beyond just that, you know, having it on the website.
Exactly. It's an investment that gives back to you over and over again because it speaks to your clients and it builds that like, know, and trust factor without you having to be on social media all the time.
Yeah.
And that's always like a huge like disconnect. But also remember, for most of us, for many of us, GZen is our upcoming buyer, and they do really care about knowing the business owner, what your values are, who you are as a person. And it saves you so much time because they get to know you before getting on that call. So,
Yeah.
if they're not going to be the right fit and there's not a connection there, why would you waste your time wanting to have a call with that person,
Yeah.
anyways?
Yeah. It's a great filter essentially
Right.
for both parties. Like,
Exactly. That's
um,
exactly what it is.
that's amazing. Now, I know from our experience together, you can do full website, but then there's also like a semi built. Is that what that what you would call it?
Yep, so that was actually a change this year. I did get rid of custom design full blown. I now
Okay.
and I love to talk about this because this is an important change, okay? And again, maybe an unpopular opinion. I don't believe any small business owner needs to be spending $15,000 on a custom website. Okay. If you have a huge business with 40 employees, you're a very luxury brand, you are a huge business, then and you want custom, then you need to go with an agency who can support you in the way that one person cannot. And then you have a whole team. But for small business owners, that is not necessary. So I only offer my 7-day design now. I have design partners that I love. We find a template. I match make with a template because it's basically a foundation. And I always get this. Clients are always like, oh, but what if it ends up looking like someone else's website because they use the same template? The chances of that happening are very small. And honestly, it doesn't matter because let me tell you, we're always in our head like that people are going to be able to tell the difference. People landing on your website, they're not going to say, oh my God, Nicole and Jess's website look so similar. They don't, that's not even a thought process. And
Yeah.
your work, your brand, it can't look like anyone else's because nobody else
Right.
can be you. So, and it's just a very seamless and easy process. But another unique thing about working with me is that it comes with all back end training so that moving forward, you learn how to do this, how to keep up with your website. I'm always here at my hourly rate after, but like I said, it's so important to me. I feel really passionate about empowering business owners to be able to get in there and do this stuff because, especially now, our businesses are changing so
Yeah.
quickly. And that often means our messaging needs to be touched. It's not just a set it and forget it anymore when it comes to your website. It's just not.
That's one thing with so for context, I went through the 7-day service with Jess,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I had always managed my website. This was essentially my third 3.0 website. And initially, I had like the very usual photographer's website. It's just all portfolios. Then I ended up going with Show It and just did a template and just built it out because it was such a drastic change from what I had before. It was what I was
Mhm.
needing then. And then after a few years, I could feel that it was either getting too heavy or the SEO wasn't dialed in,
Mhm.
because what I learned 15 years ago when I started my creative journey basically has evolved. And, I can't be an
Yeah.
expert in every single element of my business.
No.
So that's when, lucky enough, had a meeting with Jess.
Yep.
She was the fresh air and fresh perspective that I needed on my website because everything that I was feeling, she basically confirmed.
Yep.
And I feel so confident now with my new website because I know it's dialed in, and
Mhm.
it's it does I like the fact that I can still control and go in and change
Yeah.
if there's a new project that I need to make another portfolio on.
Right.
there's no problem because a lot of times that was like my big tipping point because when I'm talking to other business owners, many times I hear them saying, "Well, I can't go in and change it. I wish I could go in and change that picture. Like, I
That
can't go in. I have to tell the website designer, and then I don't know when that's ever gonna get changed." And then so
and the costs
yeah,
associated with that.
yeah. So that was one thing I was like, "Oh gosh, yeah." And so it was just like a perfect, like, match when everything happened,
Oh, it's
with
and the SEO piece again. I
yes.
always say this. I get so many clients that come to me with these beautiful websites and they're like, I don't want to, I do website audits as well. That's how Nicole and I
Yes.
actually had our call.
Yep.
And they're so frustrated because they spent so much money on these beautiful websites. Like on average, those clients probably spend 10 to 15,000 on their website. And then
Wow.
they come to me and they're like, why it's not coming up on Google or anywhere? Because you need both brains and beauty. And there's no SEO in those websites. Every time. And this is why, again, you need to know and understand this piece before you hire anybody to do any part of your business. As Nicole learned, as soon as we started properly naming your images, you started
Yeah.
showing up. I mean, it
Yep.
was just a small thing and understanding like the SEO settings and show it. But and also deep diving into knowing your keywords and how people search for you. One of the greatest things that I love about going through this process with clients is, and this has been my quote of the year, and that's from Steve Jobs, is that you cannot look at the competition and think, how can I do it better? You have to look at the competition and think, how can I do it differently? And that
Mm,
applies in SEO because yes. Okay. There might be 12 web designers in this area, but what's the thing that sets me apart from them? And I will ask this for every business owner should be asking themselves that. And then you look at, okay, so what's the key word that people can find me with that separates me from everybody else? So it's a really big like learning, it's a learning curve, but it is such an important one. And
yeah.
outside of your website, remember SEO is turned on social media. So you need to be understanding those keywords in Instagram and Facebook. Pinterest is a search engine, so is YouTube. Your website is kind of like the top of the pyramid, and then everything that you're learning from there drops down into all your marketing.
Beautiful. I totally agree. It's powerful because
Very powerful.
it's just that education, that investment can then just grow through all those sections that you were just mentioning. It just you feel like you feel that confidence and empowered to then for your own business because now you get it and now you know where you need to
And
find
I love that. Like that, the most gratifying part of what I do is like the minute you messaged me and we're like, oh my God, I'm already showing up here. And it's like so exciting. And I've had clients who are like, oh my God, you're a magical unicorn. And I'm like, I'm not a magical unicorn. This is just SEO. There's not, it's just
yeah,
understanding and knowing. But once
yeah,
they're like, oh my God, after being so frustrated and not understanding, and then seeing how
yeah.
but making these easy changes, but knowing how to do it themselves. It's the most important foundation of your business.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Any other trends or any other topics you're seeing? I mean, we covered
Well,
a
I know I hate always saying this, but it's so true. I know we've been hearing it since 2020, but authenticity, being authentic, and it is really, you gotta really decide what your own authentic version is. And that means putting your blinders on and
yeah,
not looking out. I always
yeah,
tell clients when we go through like the web design process, give me some websites that you love. And I always tell people, look outside of your industry,
yeah,
connect and build community with like-minded business owners, but that are not in your industry, right? So that way, like I have web designers that I connect with. One, she specializes in websites for therapists and for the wellness industry, right?
okay,
So we are not competing against each other, but it's so great to have someone to talk about business and then decide, like bounce ideas off when you're looking at your own website and marketing. So that's like the first thing. And then as far as trends, it's like trends are not even a thing anymore
Okay.
because every year is so different.
Yeah.
It's very hard to predict. I mean, even in the marketing world or sales wise, um, I think too, we are in a very difficult time, right? With the state of the world, there's always a lot happening. And when it feels heavy, we often as business owners are like, oh, like I can't show up today. And I
Yeah.
just want to take a step back. And I'm like really depleted and exhausted because the online space can feel really difficult. So to me, the whole trend then there is that you have to really let go of all that and remind yourself of your why.
Yeah.
And that needs to be everywhere. Your purpose, your intention on your website, talking about it in your social media, on your marketing, leaning into how can I help somebody today? How am I going to bring positivity and I'm just going to shut out all the negativity?
Yep.
That to me, that is the trend. The trend is really leaning into yourself and
Yep.
what and the types of clients that you want to work with
And I think that's long lasting too.
forever.
It's not like a trendy thing and then you have to hop off that and then start something new.
Right.
It's like the keeping true to yourself and that authenticity just like will always be your foundation.
Well, always, and will translate, and it should be part of your brand strategy.
Yeah.
I will say on the design side, I tell clients often I don't, I move away from like colors. Like there, if there's a color, like with you, we worked with blue, which worked beautifully, but as you saw, I was making sure that we had images that went with that brand because you have such a variety of different work with a lot of different colors. But
Yeah.
consistency on a website makes a huge difference. So when you're having your branding session, be thinking about that. Your outfits, what props you're going to bring, that should all tie into the look and feel of your brand for your website.
Love that.
Um, and so and that's another big thing. Another big trend is typography. Good use of fonts will
Mhm.
really set you apart versus an overly ornate designed logo. Again, this is an unpopular opinion. I truly believe that we can all do this ourselves in Canva. I don't think that any small business owner needs to be spending tens of thousands of dollars on a logo and a brand that, quite frankly, in 2 years, you will be probably having to update in some way, shape, or form. But if you pick a really good font, that that will be timeless and will carry itself with you for all the decades of your business.
Oh my, I love that. Oh, I do love typography. That's so fun. You never think of that, so I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so you uh help with Shopify and Show It.
Mm,
Now,
yep.
since I'm a photographer and videographer, more service-based, I
Yep.
went with Show It. That's
Yes.
what seemed to
Yes.
match years ago. That seemed to match well.
And it still does.
Shopify is leans more towards those that have a need for a shop.
Right. Product based only.
Product based.
E-commerce. That need to sell. Yep.
Right. Awesome. Any differences with the shop type of clients that have products to sell
Mhm.
that you want to touch on?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? One thing I will note is that what the reason I love working with Show It so much is because it is so robust. So they actually have WordPress integrated into their
Yeah.
website for blogging. It's still the authority, but they manage it all. So you don't have to worry about keeping up to date because that part of WordPress is a huge pain in the butt. They do all that. And it also seamlessly integrates with Shopify. So I do have some clients that have Show It and actually have like a photographer who she sells prints, but she has a limited release every year and she
Mhm.
only does it at Christmas time and she puts up 15 prints. And Shopify actually integrates as a shop
Oh,
right to Show It. But if you have more than 15 products, then I would never use Show It. So on the Shopify side, it's got to be, I have everything from a home decor store, candles, jewelry designer, our local retailers who also now sell online. So if
Okay.
you're having like more than 15 products and your whole business is selling, that's Shopify is for you. The key differences are that in Shopify, you don't have as much control over design the way that you do over Show It. And that's what I love about Show It. It's so seamless between desktop and mobile. It automatically designs side by side and reformats for all different computer screen sizes and mobile and tablets. And you can really creatively, I can really make things like work. Show it. I mean, Shopify, they're called themes, and they're more like you're boxed into the theme that you choose. It's a template essentially. So it doesn't give you as much room. But again, it doesn't matter so much on that side because what we really want to be working over there is the pictures of what you're selling. That's what makes a Shopify website.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, getting those nice clean. I always like to
Yes,
capture, let me
especially
bounce off
products.
of you since you're a expert. I always like to capture like that clean image with like that clean background, but then
Yep.
also have like the environmental shot to show
Yes.
scale, to show
Yep.
texture, to show functionality. I like to have a little collection per product.
Absolutely. And Shopify has that in there. So you'll see, like, usually I say put in 4 to 5 images per
Okay.
product. So you can see the different versions, the different looks, and really get a feel for that. That really makes a huge difference.
Okay, awesome. All right, that's
Yeah.
I keep
Yes.
that's what I was like. I was dialed in. All right, I love
Yes.
it. Oh my gosh. All right, well, Jess, this has been so fun chatting with you. I think we covered a lot. So many people
Good.
could have a lot of takeaways and maybe they're reviewing their own website and
Yeah.
seeing where there may be gaps or places where they can improve.
Yes.
I will certainly post your information. Do you have a
Yep.
preferred method of contact? Do you want people
Yep.
emailing? Is that
Right on my website, there's a contact form, or they can email me. Everything's very customized now, right? Like I usually say, let's start with a website audit and go from there. If you want to learn SEO, we can do that together, but often that leads to a website redesign and it's done together. So everything is really, I'm very custom based on what each business owner's needs are. So feel free to email me or fill out the form on my website.
awesome? All right, thank you so much,
Thank you
Jess.
so much,
And
Nicole. This is
yes,
awesome. Best way to start the week.
yes,
I'm
I know.
so honored. Thank you for thinking of me. And it was wonderful spending my morning with you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
I
right,
agree. This
Nicole.
was so much fun. Thank you for all your time and your tips. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be chatting soon.
Yes, sounds good. Thank you.